What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your homie Reason, and I'm back with another one. And of course, this time I'm joined by my Finish Line co-host, the man, the myth, the triple OG, Mr. BallGame. What's good, homie?
Hey, man. Great to be here, bro. You know what I'm saying? I can think of a lot of things I could be doing on Friday, but, you know what I mean? This is definitely at the top of the list, man. Be talking about the team I love and hanging out with you, man. So
I appreciate it, homie, man. And
yeah,
I just want to plug our guys, if you haven't already, go to Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We just dropped episode 3 of The Finish Line. We talked about a lot of things, including BallGame Drop Some Knowledge. You can go on Twitter and even hear that 1-minute clip of BallGame dropping knowledge of where the fan base should be at with all these asinine, he didn't call them, I'm calling them asinine Herbert comparisons going on right now. Richmond Webb, he laid his thoughts on it, so go give that a listen, guys. It's worth your time. Just go search Dolphins Brawl, and it's going to be the latest episode, and you can find it right there, right at the top of the list. Go give it a listen, guys. It's worth your time. So, and I want to plug BallGame too, because we just talked about it backstage. In the next couple weeks, guys, I've already had it in mind. BallGame is going to be joining me, and we're going to be dropping an Eric Rowe film analysis for you guys. So be out on the lookout. That's probably going to be the next one, film analysis wise. And then the next week, I'm going to be dropping top 25 college prospects that all of y'all should be keeping your eyes on, because we got 2 first-round picks. So I'm going to have clips of the players in there, and I'm also going to be giving little mini scouting reports. So keep your eyes out for that. That'll be coming next week, guys. All right, before we hop into the whole week 6 thing, it's kind of Jets related. Let's talk about Le'Veon Bell for a second, BallGame, because I guess a lot of people are mad because they feel that a player might have used us to leverage a little bit more money all over again. But when Brian Flores was asked about it today, because he was basically given the angle today when he was asked a question about what does it tell you about how players want to come here and legitimately play here, and he basically said it's a credit to management right now and everyone in position and what they're building. I really don't look at it as a leverage play, BallGame. I look at it you know why I look at it as they were waving, quote unquote, it was reported by Mike Garofalo, waving money. Yeah. I look at it as what you said and what we talked about privately. They believe they can win right now, and if spending a little bit more money accelerates the process and makes them a legitimate 7th, 6th seed contender,
right?
Why not? Right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the fact that this rebuild for us is taking on a different appeal in terms of what normal rebuilds look like, where teams just go through the motions and try to figure out exactly what their identity is going to be. The fact that we're 100% healthy, I think, now on the defensive side of the ball, and you see the aggressive calls being made on the offensive side of the ball week to week, as well as the defense now at this point, it tells me that they don't see this as a normal rebuild anymore. And I'm okay with them going out and being aggressive and trying to bring in some other top tier talent to help in this process. Winning now satisfies a lot of things for the fan bases, satisfies a lot of things for the coaches as well, and it's a win-win for everyone. Okay, so Bell didn't come to us, but the fact that we were actually being considered out of 31 other teams, the Chiefs landed him, okay, but we were the last 2. That tells me that what we have going on down in South Florida is making its way around, and a lot of people are taking notice to it. You see what I'm saying? And that's huge. Yeah. That's huge for us, even through the rest of this season and into the off season. So I'm anxious to see who's coming knocking on the door saying, hey, can you think you guys can use my services? Instead of us having to extend and go out and chase them down, maybe they'll come knocking on the door trying to bring their services to us as well. So yeah, I don't get into that, him leveraging us for more money, because at the end of the day, I don't think we necessarily did anything different than any other team did. And the fact that his agent and him sat down and considered us as viable choices for him, that is what it is.
And another thing too is the last 3 were obviously us, the Chiefs, and the Bills. Then if you remember, yesterday, mid-afternoon, early afternoon, the Patriots suddenly became into play. End of the day, not only does it shows this team's willingness to take that extra step, which should have everyone excited, but we kept him from 2 division rivals as well.
Right.
And, we outlasted the Bills, who were in the final 3, and they're a legitimate playoff
team. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Patriots made a late push. They're a legitimate playoff team. So I think he viewed us as a legitimate playoff team if we keep trending the way we're trending right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think what happened to the Bills, since you brought this up, what happened to them against the Titans was inevitable, I think, because they needed to be some leveling off of the trajectory. But in the same sense, any type of positive free agent momentum that we can garner is always going to be to the benefit of the team. And I still consider Bell to be a top level running back. The only unfortunate thing is that in today's football, the running back position is probably one of the most devalued positions because of the nature of teams are actually looking to spread you out, and a guy has to have a special type of skill set. But Bell is an excellent back at catching balls, out the backfield. So I think
again, a poor offensive line this year, BallGame, and he's still averaging 3.9.
Yeah, exactly, almost 4 yards. Yeah, so.
And like you alluded to, the usage. That's what had me excited, because when he was at Pittsburgh, he was one of my favorite running backs in the NFL. His usage went from 321 carries in his last year and I believe 85 targets all the way to they didn't even know how to use him. So this year, Kalen Ballage was taking reps. So this guy went from someone where people didn't want to pay him because they were afraid of the tread on the tires to where all of a sudden there's a lot of tread on the tires, even at 28, where you could get. That's why when it came out that it was 2 years, I'm fine with that, because once he hits 30, cool. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? I think you know what another thing would have happened, and I think he probably knows it, and I want to get your opinion on this. If we would have signed Le'Veon Bell, and this what might mean the Grim Reaper is at his door right now in terms of football-wise in Miami, I think Jordan Howard would have been cut. Yeah. I think Jordan Howard would have been cut.
Yeah, I think the only reason Jordan Howard on the cut right now, is still on the team right now, is because somewhere deep down inside they still want to try to some degree to see if they made the right decision and actually even bringing him in. But obviously, right now at this point, going into week 6, the guy is an afterthought. I wouldn't at any point. I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him on the field. Not with what Gaskins and Burrito are giving you. What's the point in it? At that point, I'd rather see the intern. You know what I mean? Bring the intern in. Let Leo get some reps. Because Howard he's not giving us anything. So if Le'Veon they come in, Howard's definitely gone.
And I just want to address this, because I know you're going to back me up on this ball game, and I get where you're coming from, Mr. AC Milan. But Le'Veon Bell is not a diva, my friend. The man got. Did you realize what I just said? He got 321 carries and 85 targets on his franchise tag, and he had multiple seasons of 250 carries, and I believe he had one season of over 300 carries the year before that. Right. So look at what they did to him on the franchise tag. They said, "Okay, you're not going to sign. All right, we're just going to over 405 times the ball was put in his hands." Think about that. Think about that, because they're like, okay, you don't want to sign long term. That I wouldn't want to. And the man just wanted to get paid, because, like what BallGame said, it's one of the most devalued position. Le'Veon Bell is the type of player you could line up at the line of scrimmage and have him run routes. He's that good.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing people don't even factor in, though. When Bell was there in Pittsburgh, man, he was legitimately 1/3 of that offense. You had Antonio Brown, and then Brown was having to deal with.
And that's another thing, BallGame. He was in that locker room, BallGame. He knew what Antonio Brown was, and he's like, "You're going to pay that lunatic, but you're not going to pay me, who 406 snaps came to my hands, and
no one's touching the rock more than me and I'm carrying you guys in the ground game, but you going
go look at his playoff stats, brother. Both years he averaged, I believe, over 5.5 yards per carry.
The dude legitimately had a reason to be upset, but at the same time, even on the front, he still went out and did his job, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't ever consider him a diva. I just felt like once he saw that they didn't value him the same, that hurts, man. That's like you going to work every day and you thinking, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the year, the team, the company is going to reward you with the best employee of the year award because you've been there every day. You late, you come early, you stay late, you do everything they ask of you and more, and then they go give it to the guy in receiving.
Yeah,
like who?
Who's what? You want to talk about a diva ball game? That guy's. Remember, he went live while they were in the locker room post game. Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And he played nice. He played out that year in the franchise tag and said, okay, now pay me.
Now pay me. Yeah, exactly.
And they got value back on that franchise because he produced. He had almost a 1,300-yard season that year.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, the guy's he's definitely not a diva to me.
No.
And anyone willing to call him that really doesn't understand who Le'Veon Bell is as a football player and as a man, because he shows up to do work every day. And then he didn't really gripe and complain. And you didn't really hear him griping and complaining in New York until Jamal Adams left. And he was like, hey, man, you're one of the reasons
I came here.
I came here because you were part of the pitch to bring me here. And now you're leaving me?
Like, with this guy?
Yeah.
With this guy?
Yeah. So, like, anybody, you got to understand, look at it from his viewpoint. Like, I could have went a lot of other places, but I chose to come here because you guys convinced me you were going to be here, and we were going to try to build something together, and now you leaving me?
Yeah, with this guy.
Come on, man.
No, yeah, I agree, man.
It's easy to label somebody, but it's easy to label and call somebody something and not have all of the facts. But then if you take some time and dive into what the person is actually experiencing, then you might see like, oh, dang, they did really screw him over. Like, okay. And Gase is not the easiest dude to get along with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This the guy the same guy that got rid of Jay Ajayi. Like, come on, man, really? And Jarvis Landry. Like, come on.
You know what? That's people. I know a lot of people don't like Adam Gase, and they have their reasons. That's why I hate Adam Gase, is because Jarvis Landry was
man,
one of my favorite Dolphins ever, personality-wise. Like, they told him he was traded at a charity event. That's where he got the news, at a charity event. At his charity event. Like, Jarvis Landry was, I remember one of my favorite, like, obviously my Merino jerseys, but one of my favorite jerseys ever was when I got that all-orange Jarvis Landry that my wife bought me one year for Christmas. Like,
the business is cold-blooded, man. Like, he'll go out there every Sunday, man, and the dude came to work every day, and all he did was just speak up as a man. My friend,
think if we had Devontae, Preston, because Preston was a UDFA. Preston was a UDFA, so that ain't based off draft.
Right.
And we had Jarvis.
Exactly.
Oh my
That's
God.
That's nasty, bro. That's nasty. Then you're not talking about, and right now, if you think.
And he would be a Flores guy. That's the crazy thing about Flores would love Jarvis Landry in that locker room. That's what's even worse about it, man. Like, I loved my Chris Chambers. I loved OJ McDuffie, but Jarvis Landry
was something special, man.
Yeah, yeah.
For Jarvis to have put up the numbers he put up for us, the way he put them up, especially during the time period in which we really weren't that great, and Tannehill didn't really have the influence of Tannehill being back there and whoever else and Matt Moore and all that, and he was still putting up those numbers, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You gotta love a guy like that, man. And then you get rid of the guy because he doesn't agree with you. Just come on. Even as a coach, for me, when I had players that didn't agree with the scheme or they didn't agree with the way, you know what I mean? I still brought those guys in and explained to them why we were going the direction we were going. These grown men now, and I did this with high school kids because the kids need to, we're in an era now where people want to know. They want to know. So you just sit them down and explain to them. You can't always do it, but it doesn't hurt you if you have the time to go and explain to them, like, listen, this is why we're moving in this direction. But Gase didn't want to do that. It was like, my way or the highway. If you don't like it, I'll get rid of you. So, but then you leave, but you screwed us because you didn't even get us true value for the dude.
Yeah. So let me ask you this ball game. Let's segue in. We'll start segueing into week 6.
Yeah.
And we'll start with this because if people listen, and we'll get into our final score prediction at the end, but if people have already listened to our finish line episode this week, they've heard our prediction. I got to ask you, bro, if Gase loses this week to us, is he fired?
I would. I hope so. I hope so. Yeah. There'll be no other reason. He hasn't done anything at this point to justify keeping the job. And we go in there and we shellac them the way I feel like we should be able to go in there and run the score up on them. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. He got to go.
Follow-up question now. Because I actually want them to fire Gase, where a lot of people are like, don't fire Gase, let him keep losing. This is why. And let me see and I want to know if you agree with me. I believe Greg Williams would take over.
Right.
And I believe they could win 2 to 4 games with Greg Williams.
Right.
And I believe that would take them out of the Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would finish right outside of that, where they don't even get Panay Sewell.
Right.
And they got to settle for second best tackle in the draft. Or Justin Fields or Trey Lance. You know what I mean?
People don't think, man. I don't think people put a lot of thought process into how calculating you have to be sometimes with some of these wins and losses. I always root for the demise of their franchise, but in the same sense, I need them to have a little bit of success so that they're not picking in that 1, 2, and 3 position. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. 4 or 5. I don't even want them there either. But if they can get to 6,
perfect.
Let them have it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not getting those guys. You know what I'm saying? They're not getting the guys that I know
the blue chip talent. The
blue chip talent. Exactly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, you know what I think is going to happen if they do draft a new quarterback? Mark my words. Sam Darnold's going to get traded. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to get proper coaching, and he's going to absolutely blow up. Yep. And then it's just going to be a further indictment. Adam Gase is going to be coaching Pee Wee.
Come on, man.
In 2 years, bro. Okay.
Listen, and I know that the only reason Adam Gase has had the success or even has been given the opportunities he was given is because of the quarterbacks that he had.
You know what it was? I can identify the moment ball game. Yeah. It's in Peyton Manning's retirement speech. When Adam Gase was the first person he thanked. And then he said, Adam Gase taught me how to prepare properly. I was like, and that had me hyped. I was like, oh, snipes.
But you know what? I feel like that was the biggest lie.
You're right, too. I got a lot of Bear fans buddies, and they all said he was great with Cutler in Chicago too. Yeah. So they had me hyped as well. But
I didn't see it. I didn't see it, man. I think I was too close to it to realize this guy was riding off of the wave of really, you know what I'm saying? Really just riding off the wave of a Hall of Famer. You feel me? And then Cutler, you know what I'm saying, he had that arm talent then before, you know what I mean? He lost his ability to read defenses and all that other type of stuff. So, but
buddy, I'll tell you,
do?
That's why, I used to always look at what Derek Huggins said. I wouldn't want Gase coaching my kids at all.
Smart man.
And I don't know if you heard me, but what up, Oos? And then the funny thing about, I have seen Herbert's arm before with more accuracy. Mm-hmm. That was Jay Cutler.
Yeah. You mentioned that before, though. We've had conversations about that.
That was Jay Cutler. Vanderbilt, go watch his tape at Vanderbilt. That guy, I'm talking not to you, but to people out there. That man had a freaking bazooka, bro. It was Herbert before Herbert came out.
That's true.
All right, so let's get in to this week, man. It's a big game. The whole COVID thing has messed up the schedule. We're on our bye next week now instead, right?
Right.
So let's start off with a few things about the two teams. So we're walking in right now. This is how both teams stack up offensively and defensively. Right now, Miami, they're 20th in yards per game offensively. As you guys are seeing, they're averaging about 364.8. And the Jets are only getting about 279.4 yards. And welcome to our secondary. And that was with Sam Darnold for the first couple of games. Now it's Flacco will be starting. So they're averaging only 151.4 yards per game passing, which is 32nd. They're averaging 103.4 yards, but rushing, which is 22nd, the Jets are. But Le'Veon Bell is now a Kansas City Chief, and that means Frank Gore and LaMichael Pirine will be getting more and more of the workload this week, and we'll talk about that when we get into our keys. We are 21st, slightly ahead of them in rushing yards with 104.2. We're 14th in the NFL right now with 252.4 yards per game passing. You go look at the points per game. This is a big one. We're averaging 27.2, which is best for 13 tied. They're only averaging 15 ball game.
Dead last.
I mean, we're already doubling them just off, and we put up points against good teams too, right? Like a la the Bills. You know what I mean?
That 49 team's still good too, so.
And so is that Seattle team who we only lost to 8 by, right?
Right.
And then third down, we've been fantastic this year on third down that we've highlighted multiple times. We're 15th in the NFL right now, 44.3. We've been fantastic on first and second down as well, statistically. And then they're 28th with third down percentage. But then when you go to defense, let's go all the way to the bottom.
7th, and they're 20.
Yeah, and they're allowing around what our third down percentage is. We're getting a 44.3. They're allowing 45.9.
Can't get off the field. That's what that tells me. They can't get off the field.
Poor Greg Williams.
Yeah.
And whereas we just highlighted a ball game. We faced really good teams, and we're only allowing a 38% clip, which is 7th best outside the top 5, bro.
Right.
Points per game, we're only allowing 22.6, which with our run deficiencies at times and Josh Allen's 400-yard game, plus-yard game, that's still 10th best. And we saw last week ball game, and you look at all this stuff, and especially how bad the Jets are on defense right there, we saw how much this defense improved with Byron Jones coming back in terms of, now you didn't have Noah chasing the play with the number 1. You had Byron mirroring the guy.
Right.
It seemed X was much more comfortable last week because he wasn't stressed out because he knew the other side was getting blown up. It was just a matter of time before they tested him as well, right?
Right.
And Bobby McCain keeps to get better and better each week. And Eric Rowe is consistently, like me and you agree upon, is the best player on the defense and arguably the best player on this team right now. When you look at the passing game, when you look at Flacco coming in, and we'll get into the injury report right after this, guys, and you specifically look down at those third down percentage, this isn't a good matchup for their offense against our secondary.
It should be a landslide.
Yeah,
it should be a landslide. But these are the type of games, man, like we talked about on the podcast, though. These type of games that scare me, though, because division teams always play each other to the hilt. There's always something about playing a division rival that, the stats are the stats, but those guys come in with a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder, and we just have to be ready for it. I do believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that the mental aspects of this game we won't have to worry about, because Flores will ensure that these guys are ready to play because they understand what's ahead of them. But getting out there and, getting popped in the mouth early by them or something like that could throw us off. But again, I don't see us looking past anyone at this point. I think that we legitimately go out every week and prepare to give every team that we're going to face the best that we have. And our best is just going to be that much better than theirs, to be honest, in my opinion. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the injury report here, because there's some interesting things I want to talk about, including a rookie me and you were very high on, who's not on this injury report, but I do want to talk about him before we get into the keys. All right, let me bring it up here. So when you look at their injury report and our injury report, theirs obviously is a little bit more extensive. Kevon Frazier, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, guys who were limited at times the past couple weeks, they're all full participants. Shaq Lawson, it sounds like he's going to try and go. He's been limited all week. Devontae Parker, full. Durham Smythe, has been limited, but he'll probably be good to go. Kyle Van Noy, he's gone from did not practice to limited. He'll probably be good to go. The name that's not on this list, Devon Godshaw, BallGame.
He's getting that second opinion, right?
No, he had the surgery today. The bicep surgery was a success. He hopes he's going to be back by the end of the season. I just want to get your quick thoughts on Devon Godshaw, the bicep surgery, and what this means for a lot of us who already thought he probably wasn't going to get picked up anyways in the offseason in terms of being renewed.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good thing for him. What he was doing was playing for his next contract with his next team through us, and getting injured. I just don't know if he put enough good tape on the field. I mean, out there right now at this point for him to get that payday. If he stays with us, it's definitely gonna be at a reduced rate now at this point, because those injuries that's factors into his productivity throughout the season. There's no such thing as nostalgia contracts, So it sucks for him, because I want him, even though I don't think he's the right fit for us. I want him to do well elsewhere. But when you get hurt, what I mean, and you're gonna be out 10 plus games, that pretty much tanks anybody's desire to really want to give you a contract. You gotta have to. It's gonna be really what they call one of them prove it to me contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to decide whether he wants to stay here with us and do it again and prove it to us, or go somewhere else.
And here's the thing, BallGame. Last I checked, we haven't made a decision on who's replacing him on the 53 yet.
Exactly.
So what do you do? I don't think we've even announced who we're protecting yet.
Nope.
This week. So what do you do? Does Benito Jones get the call up? Show me what you got, young boy, before we look at the waiver wire or look at a potential trade?
I think it's always important to go ahead and figure out what you got in-house. That's the move I would make. You put him on the practice squad for a reason. So, yeah, I'd bring him up, give him a shot. And what greater game than this one, because it's not like you're out there going against the Chiefs or something, So, yeah, let him go out there and get his sword sharpened against them and see what he got, see what he's learned, if it's going to be worth an investment in him or not. Because at this point, we don't know, right? It's just practice. But I want to see him against some live action, somebody else in a different color uniform. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I start in-house. I'd always start in-house before I look elsewhere. They held on to those guys for a reason. So they had to see something in him, whether it's just the sheer size of him, that made them want to hold on to him. So have him go out and prove it.
Do you go and look at Snacks Harrison? Because he is a Flores. He is a Flores guy, right?
Yeah, I would definitely take a look at him. One, because I think he can still play at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And two, yeah, like you said, he is a Flores guy. So those are two very important things that need to be considered. But of course, he understands also he's not coming in. He's not gonna break the bank with us. We're not gonna break the bank for him. But if he's trying to get some quality reps and trying to get a paycheck and still play football, he can come do it with us and be a part of this upward trajectory we got going on. At the very least, he can come in and help these younger guys learn how to play the position. You know what I mean? Teach them too. Because hell, we got a whole bunch of other older veterans that are doing the same thing and teaching these guys the nuances of the defense and the nuances of the position that they're trying to learn. So why not bring him in? I think I think EL made a really good point, man. We should have probably held on to and re-signed John Jenkins from last year. You know what I mean? Because that having that big, huge presence of a man in the middle of the defense, man, makes a huge difference up front. And I think a lot of our woes in the run game earlier would have been solved by having a true, a true zero or a nose tackler,
or at least contain someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I agree with you 110%. And let's go. I see right now
they got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give you an updated look right now. Give me one sec here. updated because they haven't updated Friday on that report that I'm showing right now. So let's give you a little bit of an updated look here, guys. So here is an updated with game status. So let's start with the New York Jets. And so Mekhi Becton is doubtful. Sam Darnold obviously is not playing. Austin Bless is questionable. He did not practice today. He was in our matchup to watch because he had getting in limited practices, but we'll see. He could still be going. And then no really other big names. Rashard Perriman is questionable. Quinnen Williams is questionable. Frank Gore battled something earlier this week, but he's good. Brian Poole's good. So, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now I'm just looking at the only name on there that really, to be honest with you, I hate what they're doing with Becton. That's all, put that all on Gase.
Yeah.
And Quentin Williams, man. But I hope that guy don't play.
Well, and Brian Poole and Austin Bless kind of switched places. That would be a little bit better because I can make the argument Brian Poole's probably the best
corner, yeah.
Even though he's a slot guy, right?
Yep.
So, and this is something I wanted to talk about you as we look at this right now, ball game. And let's talk about this. We'll close this up, guys. There's just your injury update heading for the week. So before we get into the keys, I want to talk to you about this ball game because I don't understand it. I've watched some Jets to try and grasp what the hell they're doing. I don't get what's wrong with Greg Williams. I don't get if it's a Gase call. I don't know what's going on, but their safety play this year, ball game, it's been okay. I mean, it's, Marcus May's been all right. Bradley McDougald, you know what I mean? But my question to you is, and this is why you're the secondary mind, I want to have you on here and ask you this. Why is it through 5 weeks, outside of special teams, Ashton Davis, he only has 31 snaps at free safety, 1 in the slot and 3 in the box. I mean, you got rid of Jamal Adams. You can afford, you took this guy before 70. You took this guy basically to cock block us, right? Okay. Right. So you put a high investment in him, a 3rd round investment. I believe, was it a 3rd round or 4th? Third round investment. Third. Yeah, my bad. So
they took Mims in the 2nd.
And Mims has been on IR, right? So I get that, but you took a 3rd round investment on a guy who me and you really liked, really rangy. This guy was a track star. That's why me and you were so disappointed when he didn't run his combine. That's like one of the few guys me and you were looking forward to. Yeah. Him and TCU. Jeff Gladney. So can you explain to me? I don't know if you've gone back and watched a little. I don't know if you've heard anything. What do you think could be the reason why Ashton Davis is, who is a very dynamic player at the collegiate level? Why, you're a secondary guy. Why do you think right now he could not be seeing very many snaps?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the primary reason is that they don't have anybody up there that know what to do with him. They wanted to. The word I heard before was that they wanted to convert him to corner, but they don't have a secondary. They don't have a secondary coach that really understands how to go about getting what they need to get out of the guy. Greg Williams is great at the X and O's pieces of calling the defense, but he's not a specialist in terms of he doesn't have the right guy there as a secondary coach to actually teach the younger guys, or better yet, blend the corners and the safeties together. And that's the problem you're seeing right now. They just got a bunch of individuals out there. May is probably the longest stay that they've had in the secondary. But when you lose Jamal Adams, who's arguably your captain of your defense, especially in the secondary, the guy calling all your plays. He was your he was your field general. That's a huge hole, and Jamal Adams made up for a lot of things that coaching didn't have to necessarily do. The coaches didn't necessarily have to do because the guy was without a shadow of a doubt a student of the game. He was more prepared than a lot of times the coaches were. And this reports that you can go find anywhere in regards to the Jets. They just don't have the personnel on the coaching staff to be able to teach these cats. So I think when they took Ashton, they took him based on his athletic ability alone, but they really don't know what they have, And when you this far, you're this deep in the season, and at this point where your season has been, you can't go wrong by going ahead and putting him out there and letting him learn on the fly, right? He's natural at the position, so there shouldn't be any reasons other than maybe he's just not catching on to the terminology or something of that nature, or it's on him. But I don't think that's the case because free safeties. It's not that I'm saying free safety is an easy position to play, but it's definitely not one of the more difficult ones in the secondary. You know what I mean? Like, really, at the end of the day, you just gotta be the deepest of the deep. Just don't, even if they catch every ball in front of you, you did your job as a free safety. As long as they didn't get past you, and that kid's more than capable of doing that on a consistent basis. But him not being a part of their normal rotation in their secondary is a detriment to any growth or process they're going to build in continuity. And like I said, I hate the Jets, so I don't really care. But to
what a waste,
block us of that guy, yeah, man, because he would have been.
We could have made something of him.
What? Yeah. You and I both know how that dude run.
Yeah,
we know what we look like. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. He was.
That guy was low 4.3 at worst.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. And some of his best tape was he lit up Justin Herbert.
Herbert.
He'd have been perfect to have for that matchup.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so let's get into some of the keys here. So starting with start off with the offensive keys to victory for this week. So actually, we're gonna play.
I just got a text message in from my son. He said Ashton Davis is going through the same thing Isaiah Simmons is going through right now, a lack of knowledge and a lack of coaching because both organizations have the guys playing in the wrong positions.
Yeah, I agree.
Or not playing at all. So yeah.
Yeah, poor Isaiah Simmons, man, because people are probably in Arizona labeling him a bust already. And I will say this though, you got to give credit to where it's due. Kyler Murray was right when he was telling them, draft my boy CeeDee. Because if he would have had CeeDee and DeAndre this season, oh boy. So this is something me and you, we'll start off with the offensive keys here. And the first one is something you and Richmond have talked about weekly, and it's show commitment to the run no matter the yards per carry. And that's because, this past week they ran it 33 times, even though thanks to a busted Jakeem Grant jet sweep, they only averaged 2.8 yards per carry. But even then, Gaskin and Breida weren't averaging over 4 yards per carry, right? So
right.
They stuck with it. And I think that's going to be essential against the Jets in terms of what we go into, which is the second one here. You establish that run ball game, and you will win that time of possession more times than not, right?
Yeah. The committing to the run, regardless of the yards of carry, does two things for you. One, it shows the other team that regardless of whatever, they don't dictate the terms to you. You're gonna do what you came out to do. You're gonna establish it, and regardless of what you get, 4 to 5 yards, or you're only getting 2 yards, they gotta defend that. So they gotta put bodies to that. And over the course of time, if you consistently stick to that, that wear down effect does happen. And the fact that they gotta come to us, right? They're coming into our house this week. That's going to bode well for us because we still got the elements to our favor. So committing to the run, tires them out late, keeping the ball out of their hands, things of that nature, puts them in a position where later down the line, when they're down and they're behind, they got to go play against the strength of our team right now, which is our secondary. Yeah. And I love to see Flacco coming out there trying to kind of get some. Oh man. You get cats drooling at the mouth, man. Think about this matchup. Like real time.
We'll get into defense in a second here. But I wanted to go on because this is something we were just talking, and now we've seen Bless Austin. He went from limited. I thought he was going to play, and then it just came out literally an hour ago that he didn't practice today. Right. Bless Austin isn't that great, but he is a starter in that offense, right? Like he's one of the starting boundary guys. With Pierre Desir, and then Brian Poole is inside, right? And then they basically have Marcus May and McDougald running, running
free safety and strong safety.
Exactly. So you look at this, and here's the thing: even if Bless Austin starts ball game,
We still should eat.
This is a very weakened secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, they're allowing 257.2 yards. They're the 25th worst secondary against the pass.
They are what I would call below average at best right now.
So let me ask you this. Is this the chance for Fitzpatrick to add another 300-yard game?
Easily. And if he doesn't, then I'm very disappointed because they don't have the boundary guys to match up with our two bigs. And inside, with Poole not being inside, that should actually even open up things more for Isaiah Simmons and Jakeem Grant. But the problem that they really going to have is they don't really have anybody to truly match up with Gesicki.
Touche.
They don't have anyone. They don't have anyone really to match up with Gesicki. So we should be able to see a healthy dose of Mike Gesicki on Sunday.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even. Yeah. You're 110% right. I mean, Avery Williamson, Neville Hewitt. What linebacker are you bringing out?
Yeah.
Like
they can't do it.
Brian Poole is a great slot, but he's really like 5'8
3/4, bro.
Yeah, he's gonna get crushed, bro. Yeah. You just throw the ball up to Gesicki's chest and it's over Poole's head, right?
Exactly. That's the matchup that I didn't think about. I wasn't thinking about until earlier. I was like, they don't have anybody to match up with Gesicki.
Yeah, that matchup to watch, we would have had to put Gesicki in a question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't actually. I guess. What have I been? Ball game. What have I been saying, Gesicki? I want to see 8 to 12 targets.
Yeah, you did. Let's
go. This is the perfect week. You feed him, and it's against a team that he's going to be. The matchup nightmare we want this guy to be. He's going to be it against a team like this, right?
Exactly.
And I wanted to ask you this. How do you, as a defensive secondary mind, ball game, how are you scheming for a team where Devontae's looks solid when he's been healthy, even when he's been walking with a limp, he's come into the game and he's made plays. But Preston's coming off of his first 100-yard game, so we can only imagine where his confidence is.
Right.
How are you scheming right now for Gesicki, like you mentioned, Devontae, and Preston, who's fresh off his first 100-yard game?
Bro, if I'm Greg Williams right now, I am hating my job this week just because of what I got to deal with. The players that the players that I have that are at my disposal to go out there and try to put together a scheme to slow these guys down. I can't match up physically against them with what he has and what he's working with. Having lost Jamal Adams, man, he can't physically match up with us, and he's going to have to be really creative and not showing his hand and doing any pre-rolls and pre-snap, keeping everything looking the same and hoping that maybe Fitz makes some throws and take some chances, and then they just catch him, by happenstance, catch him trying to do something more than what he should. But physically, I'd be up all the way up until game time trying to figure it out. Like, okay, like what wrinkle did I throw at them to just throw them off because they don't have the personnel. They really don't. When you look at it and you stack them up against us, they don't have the personnel to match up with us.
And this is what I was going to ask you. Like, if you look at KJ Wright, if you look at Bobby Wagner, if you look at the Adrian Phillips interception, I believe if you look at the actual interception there's another interception he had from a linebacker. Anyways, the two almost by KJ Wright, the one almost by Bobby Wagner, and I think KJ did actually have one as well. Which one had one that game, Bobby Wagner or KJ? KJ Wright had
KJ Wright. Yeah.
Okay, so KJ Wright 3 times, including 1 successful. Bobby 1 time unsuccessful. Adrian Phillips successful in the Patriots game. For some reason, Fitzpatrick gets lazy with IDing the underneath hanging linebacker or corner.
Right.
Like, you got to, Greg Williams, here's the insufferable thing that what you're talking about, that compounds what you're saying. It's better if he's facing Tua because he's facing a rookie. He can, you got those weapons, but I can make you mentally, I can make it a nightmare for you.
Right.
He's facing a guy who's been around for 15 years and has seen everything. But for some reason, at times this season has had issues identifying that hanger. So what looks are you just, like you said, just keeping it simple and hoping you catch him slipping with something like that?
I'd start with the base, you know what I'm saying, with a base cover 2 look. Or I'd come out in cover 4, and that relieves my guys of actually having to do anything other than just play their zones. You know what I mean? And whatever comes into my area, I play it. You know what I'm saying? Play some palms. I'm 7 yards off, 1 yard inside type of look. So I'm still got my eyes able to see the quarterback, and I just make reads off of whatever he's doing based on what that throwing shoulder is. Because like they can't come down and press. That's not gonna work. Like they don't have the size for that. So it's gonna really be a zone affair, which works in their favor to some degree. If Ryan Fitzpatrick is lazy or late on his reads, that could hurt us. You know what I mean? They could make some plays that way. But aside from that, you know what I mean? I think, you know, our guys are smart enough to know, Shane's smart enough to know that that's probably what they're going to see is a lot of zone because they don't have the guys to run man. You know what I mean? They just don't. They just those guys physically aren't big enough, strong enough, and they're just not those type of athletes to be able to run man press. It's going to be a zone heavy, you know, which should, like I said, it should bode well for Gesicki because he'd be running up the field in the seams, you know, him and Isaiah Ford, right? Especially if they go to spread,
finding the soft areas in the coverage, areas, right?
Yeah, sitting down under the coverage, you know what I'm saying, to pull down the mic, you know, set somebody right in front of him so he can't extend in his buck drops past maybe 10 yards and then drop it in right over his head at 12 to 15, and you're running the daylight, you know, until you get tackled. You know, that type of thing. It's a matchup nightmare for the Jets, man. Like real talk. And there's only so many zones you can run.
That's the other thing too, right? That's the other thing too, right?
There's only so many. So, you know what I'm saying? How you stop the bleeding, you know?
Yeah. And especially if you start getting knifed up on a few of them and you got to take them out of the playbook, then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And again,
it's even worse for them if we do get this ground game going, because I do believe that if we get the ground game going, they're going to stick to it. Which then at that point ties in play action, you know, and then they're really scrambling.
Which is what I've noticed. We've been getting heavier out of pistol sets with play action. They've been really implementing heavy, more RPO as the season's been going on, especially against San Fran. When we were in the driver's seat, they were loving the RPO.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go.
It looks different. It looks different for the defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have to honor that. They have to honor that. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback running back exchange. They have to. So.
Especially now people are going to have to start honoring the Wildcat because the reps are getting more and more, right?
More and more, yeah.
So, and teams are going to be back on their heels waiting to see what we throw at them with a pass, right? So
it's coming.
They all know it's coming like we do. They just don't know what's coming, and I love it, bro.
Yeah.
Keep it that way. That's the great thing about being up in these games is you can keep teams honest with the Wildcat, even with 5, 3, 6 yard runs, and just keep – if you're up by a couple touchdowns, 3, 4, 5 snaps in the game, just run it and just keep it honest, keep it in the tape. So when you get to that moment where you need it against a team where that win matters, boom, come over the top, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, let's get into the defensive keys ball game.
Okay.
So make Flacco uncomfortable early. This is broader than just for me talking about pocket penetration and sacking him. That obviously is involved, but this is also giving him, and this will also come off the offensive keys. That's why we started with them. If you can get that lead early, you can also make him uncomfortable mentally. This is a guy who, he's been riding the bench the past couple of years. And he's been more of a relief guy. Locke took over for him. Was it Locke that took over for him in Denver? Yeah. And then, now he's riding the bench now. He's been around, he's won, but I don't think he's ever been as good at processing and reading coverages as Fitzpatrick has been. I think this is a guy who more relied on his arm when he started seeing that going away. That's why he got worse and worse.
Right.
Because he's not very good at the progression and read and processing part of it. And I think this guy's, you you saw those 4-2-5s to 2-4-5 fronts. We were throwing again, lining Zach Seiler up on the end, throwing different looks, exotics because we were allowed to, the coverage packages. You know what I mean? We were throwing more exotic coverage packages, and the coverage was tighter downfield. Like there were times where last week Garoppolo, I agree, he should have come back because of his ankle, but BallGame, I know you saw it. There were times where you saw him holding the ball and he was looking because everything was gone downfield. Yeah. You know, like we got a bunch of Arnold Schwarzeneggers from the mid-90s, bro. We got erasers back there, bro. You know, with the gun that sees through the wall. Like
those guys were unavailable. When he came out from under the snap and he was doing his drop back, they had unavailable signs on their backs. It's a wrap.
Yeah, closed for COVID. So I think making Flacco comes down to coverages as well, and you know the looks we can get, and this plays off of our offense. And plus, I think sacking and pressuring them, that is obviously attributes to that as well. So that's why it's a broader term there. And then make Gore look 37 and LaMichael Pirine look like a rookie. And what I mean by this BallGame, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is Gore always looks like a guy who Father Time, let alone knocking on his door, hasn't even come into his neighborhood. Right. So, I want him to look like a 37-year-old back. LaMichael Pirine, I'm a Gators fan, as people know. He's a good back, but make him look like a rookie, stuff him, close the holes on him really, really quick so he doesn't know where to go in the backfield, make him overthink it, make him make mistakes. So I want to get your opinion on that backfield now, including Flacco and the two running backs who look like they'll be fielding the workload now that Bell's gone.
To be honest with you, outside of Frank, man, because I know Frank is a workhorse, man, and at 37, this guy is ageless. I'm not really concerned. I know Flacco don't like getting hit, but I think the plan is going to be to go after and attack him early and often with them exotic fronts and get him off of his position, touch him up, make sure we hit him early, and then I think we'll see Flacco really looking over his shoulder, hoping he can get back to the bench. Gore, on the other hand, because of the issues they have up front, and with their O-line and things of that nature, I kind of feel bad for him because I think this is really going to be the game where we actually go out and exhibit probably the best run defense we've done all year because we're just more superior athlete up front. They don't have enough up front right now, especially with Mekhi Becton being hurt and things of that nature to match us up front. Even with Godchild being gone, I still like what I've seen from Wilkins and Davis and Zyler and Shaq Lawson coming back and Agba. I take our group any day against, the guys that they're filling up front. And Flacco don't scare me, but I know he's a cagey, savvy vet. So you always have to give him the respect factor, which is that he could at some point in the game surprise you with something out of the ordinary. But I don't think he's got enough left in the tank or enough in the bag of an Adam Gase bag that's going to really be able to throw at us, especially considering we play man press right there in your chest. Mm-hmm. The receiving core is...
Yeah, like the receiving core is Jamison Crowder. That's it. I mean,
all they got. That's it.
I've never been a fan of Chris Herndon. I don't know why people were so high on this kid. Denzel Memes, like we mentioned earlier, he's on the IR. They got 7-Eleven Chris Hogan.
He not scaring anybody.
Jamison Crowder is amazing. I will give them that, but we can lock him down. I'm not worried about in the slightest. They really don't have anything beyond that. I mean, and then you go to their offensive line on the third key here, exploit their offensive line. Mekhi Becton is banged up, whether he starts or not.
Right.
Alex Van Rotten, a guy who I wanted to start, he's arguably been their best the guy I wanted us to sign as a guard because he would have been cheaper. He's arguably been their best offensive lineman. Alex Lewis has been pretty good, but other than that, Connor McGovern has been meh. George Fant is pretty, what he is. He's not, he's a backup, and they got him starting. And then you got Mekhi Becton, who's out, and Idaga, who's been taking some reps, and Idaga's on the injury report.
Right.
So, and then their backups like Josh Andrews, when you start going behind that, it's a disaster. So, you look at this offensive line, it hasn't done Sam Darnold any help.
Nope.
It didn't do Le'Veon any help when he was there. And I don't know if it's going to do Frank Gore any help. And here's the thing. Zach Seiler, the man who, I don't know if people saw this week in Zoom, he lives in an RV and he hunts alligators. He's a good old Southern boy.
Southern boy, yeah.
If you look at him, BallGame, if you look at the level he's been playing at, Ogba's getting better week in week. If Shaq Lawson comes back, all of a sudden, Kyle Van Noy can move back primarily to the middle, and he doesn't have to play on the outside as much as he was last week, which is what caused Jerome Baker's snap count to increase, and he played in the middle more, albeit Jerome Baker had his best game in Brian Flores' scheme last week. So, their offensive line, when you look at it, the middle is in question right now because Gotcha's out, but I don't even look at him as a starter. Zach Seiler is our interior starter. I know the depth isn't there, but the one good thing about Benito Jones' BallGame, if he starts, is he's one of the rare breeds that he's a better pass rushing nose than a run stuffing
nose. Right. Yeah, you're right.
So he could impact for a offensive line that's not great in pass blocking. All of a sudden, your nose call up could be an impact player in that term if it translates right away, is what I'm saying. But
you know what I see? My prediction is that they're going to be in a lot of third and longs, and that doesn't bode well for them because they're dealing with a group that really is still hungry to prove to themselves and to the league that we have the guys up front that can get after your quarterback and get there, and that doesn't bode well for the Jets, in my opinion, man. If you look at who we potentially are going to field put out on the field and what they're going to put out there, it doesn't match up. It should be a landslide. I mean, we don't even have to go into the particulars of the individual matchups and things of that nature. They just can't put a better product on the field right now offensively than we can defensively, and vice versa. Our offense is better than their defense. The Jets are a shit show right now.
Yeah, and I like how you will say that, but at the same token, and I'm right on board with you. At the same token, you'll say, we should wipe them out, but it's a divisional game. So don't
don't be surprised if they come out with some wrinkles that they didn't show on film, and you know what I'm saying? Because there's always those things that happen in these division games, and that just comes down to really not playing down to the competition, which which always seems to happen, even at every level of football. It happens anywhere. Every sport too, right? Yep.
Yeah,
you go out there and play down to the level of competition, and then they sting you, and then they get motivated. Because the hardest thing in football to get back is momentum.
Well, and here's the thing too, BallGame. I don't know if you'll agree with me with that, but it seems like Adam Gase, the 2 games he gets up for every year is us, right?
Yeah.
So as much as we all don't like him, at the same token, you have to appreciate the fact that he doesn't, he might look like he's on smelling salts on the sideline when he's not against us, but when he is against us, the man does try. So that's the other thing you got to take into account. But I agree with you, man. We should give him the work, but again, I'm not counting my eggs before they hatch. I'm in the same boat as you, bro. And that's why, why I don't have secondary stuff up here on the defensive keys is beside Jameson Crowder,
they ain't got nobody.
I don't see any issue.
Right.
I shouldn't be an issue at all. So let's keep going here. And that's why my matchup to watch that we've highlighted here, our matchup to watch here, guys. is Ryan Fitzpatrick basically versus all the starters in the secondary of the Jets. And pictured here, guys, we got Bless Austin, Pierre Desser, we got Bradley McDougald, we got Brian Poole, and we have Marcus May. So this is going to be about if Fitzpatrick could put up 300, 350 yards, which he should, against this defense in this secondary, we should walk away with a victory ball game, and it should be pretty decisive.
If Fitz goes out and plays exactly like he played against the 49ers, this is going to be a landslide. Hands down, it'll be a landslide. And I believe without a shadow of a doubt, he has an even better. He still has possibly even better performances in him. So this would be the perfect time for us to go out and show a couple more new wrinkles. But, overall, I don't necessarily see anything that the Jets have that we necessarily need to be worried about other than the fact that it's a division game and everybody, like we said, they get up for division games. So,
yeah. Do you think they're tanking right now? Do you think that's why they haven't pulled the plug on Gase? Because they're like, hey, let this disaster ride out, because if it rides out, we can fire him after the season.
You know what?
Get a new staff, and you can get Trevor Lawrence.
You know what? Here's the thing, man. The Buffalo Bills did it 2 years ago and started their rebuilding process. We came along and we started ours last year. It wouldn't surprise me one bit that, inside the true inner circle there, the Jets are saying, you know what, let's blow it up and start over. Because today there's still no one that really is explaining like how you get rid of a Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
And then you brought Bell in, but now you get rid of Le'Veon Bell. So those two moves alone have me thinking, yeah, they're low key tanking, trying to get into the Trevor sweepstakes, or there's something else they like up there, but they know they need to be, down in them that 1 through 5 range to get it. And but I think the only reason Sam Darnold hasn't been the best Sam Darnold is because of Adam Gase. I just don't believe that. I believe that, like I said, he became who he is in the league because of having a Hall of Fame quarterback and a guy that arguably had some of the best arm talent in the past last 20 years in Cutler, and he rode that to where he is now. And now you got a young guy that has all of the attributes you want, but you can't coach him.
Yeah.
You don't offer anything to him to help him develop to be better. And now he's hurt.
And it was little things, ball game. Like what I noticed when I broke down the film last year, because I was like, why is this guy struggling so bad? It was little things like Adam Gase basically hasn't had an air raid for like the first 12 weeks without calling it an air raid, but most air raids will have underneath routes that you can check down off of, or that are like slants where you can make another read that's, not a long developing route. And that was his problem. He had such a terrible offensive line and all the routes were long developing routes, and he's sitting back there getting killed because he got no one to dump it off to. And then I think it was like week 12 or week 13, Adam Gase finally started adding in like mesh concepts, little underneath rub routes, drag routes, like trying to make stuff happen. Like you could tell for a guy who's a quarterback guru or an offensive guru, simple stuff like that. The fact that you don't have that in your installs makes me believe you're like the job's too big for you, especially you've coached 2 teams and you're this long into your coaching tenure.
Well, here's my thing. So like, in all honesty, how much do you really believe he had to coach Peyton? You see what I'm saying? Mm. And then you come here, and then the reports that I was given is that they were arguing a lot in the when he was with the Dolphins. They were arguing a lot because the guys were running 12 to 10 yards up the field, and there were no underneath routes, and teams knew they could just sit on the routes. But then you started seeing there'll be these plays that's out of the blue where Jarvis just flashes and he's wide open, but he's getting chewed out after the game because he deviated on a route, but he's getting open for the quarterback type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, none of the stuff that I was told or that I ever heard about Adam Gase suggested that he was just this offensive offensive mastermind. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm looking at him thinking to myself, when you got a Peyton Manning coming into your organization, and you got and you're the offensive coordinator for that. There ain't much you can. There's not much you can tell Peyton Manning at this point in his career. He's seen it all. He's that Omaha. He's the guy standing out there. You call a base play, and he's changing it, and he has the ability to change it on the fly to fit the defense that he's seeing. You see what I'm saying? That ain't Adam Gase.
Yeah.
Adam Gase built a shell, but Peyton Manning was the mastermind behind that success.
Mhm.
But then Peyton shouted him out like you said, and then the next thing you know, next hot thing is a coach. But the fact of the matter, I just don't understand. The Jets watched him with us, and then you go and sign a dude to be your coach and your GM.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Such a poorly run organization. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
From top to bottom. Like, even the coach is incompetent, the GM is incompetent, and the owner's incompetent for allowing all this to happen.
Yeah.
So let's get into before we get into our predictions, BallGame. Do you remember your prediction from the Finish Line episode?
I think I said 31-13. 31-14. 31-14 is what I think I called it.
Hold on, let me look right here.
Or something.
Hold on. Let me look. I got the show up right now. Let me see.
Yeah.
Because I think I did 33-10. So let me see.
Yeah, I think you said a little bit more point wise than I did, but I had a pretty significant differential in points, 17-14 or something like that. I said difference.
I didn't want to get you wrong, people, to hear our podcast on one and then you have it on the other.
Oh yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Before we get into our predictions here, just a quick update for all of you guys in terms of what you can expect weather-wise. It looks like it might be a wet one, guys. It is looking like it's going to be rain in the afternoon and evening. You got a low of 78, a high of 85. The wind chill is going to have it down to about 82. And then the wind's going to be at about 50 miles per hour. And there is rain, like it says here, in the forecast. So it could be a sloppy one, guys.
Still works in our favor.
Agreed.
We got the better O-line play right now. We got the better
Gaskin, this is what I got to say. Myles Gaskin.
Yeah.
We didn't get Le'Veon Bell. Gaskin, go out and get that first 100-yard game. Go pop that cherry. You know what I mean? Go pop that cherry. So let's get into our predictions here. So my prediction was I do, guys, have Miami winning 33-10. I do think it's going to be a closer 33-10 than what the scoreline says. And what do you mean by that reason? Well, I mean, if you do the numbers there, I got 4 field goals and I got 3 touchdowns. So I think they're going to make some red zone stops. I think they're going to stop some drives, but we're just going to be in field goal range. So, I don't think this is going to be a touchdown fest on our part, but explain to me how they score more than 10 points against us. I don't know if you can. They're going to have to throw out wrinkles like BallGame talked about earlier, which is very well a possibility because Adam Gase probably saves them for us. Mm-hmm. So I'll give them, maybe they score 14, but I'll stick to 10. I think our secondary is going to be a nightmare for their receiving core and for Flacco. I think they got rid of their most dynamic offensive player, not named Jamison Crowder or Sam Darnold, with Le'Veon Bell. I don't think Gore, Adam Gase has some kind of love affair with that Frank Gore. God bless the kid, because I like Frank Gore, but there's some kind of love affair going on there.
Yeah, man, fresh.
Yeah, man. It's like how Rex Ryan had Mark Sanchez tattooed on him.
Yeah,
Gase has got Frank Gore tattooed on him. So I don't really see, I look at their teams on both sides of the ball game. I don't see one single threat. I don't see one single person that keeps you up at night scheming and plotting against. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I understand completely.
So what's your prediction, BallGame?
I'm going 31. I'm going 31-14.
For Miami, obviously,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, for Miami, yeah. And I think now what you just said about the weather and all, I think it's really gonna be a situation where they might luck up, you know what I mean, and get 14 just off of a wrinkle that Gase has planned for us or something of that nature. But in the end, this game's gonna be won in the trenches, and we're gonna dominate probably on the ground as much as in the air with, Fitzpatrick hitting those sweet spots on the outsides and taking a shot, down the field here and there just to make them still understand, even though it's raining, and we're still gonna throw the ball. So, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, 31. I don't see us regressing point wise, not against this group, not against the Jets. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can put up 40 plus points against the 49, you should be able to put up easily 30, 31 points against the Jets. Like, I don't care what the weather conditions are, unless it was fog and then he got twisters and everything else popping up right there on the field. Aside from that, we should be able to do normal work and get busy. So, yeah.
Guys, we got 110 in the room. I don't know if BallGame wants to stick around or not, but I'm going to open it up to you guys for about 20 minutes, a half hour for y'all to come on. We could hit the hour and a half, 40-minute mark, and then we'll end things. But I'll give you guys about 20 minutes, half hour. Come on, give your prediction and answer the age-old question that me and BallGame are asking. Will Adam Gase be fired if they lose this game? I want to hear your thoughts on it. I want to hear people rip Adam Gase. So here's your chance. Y'all got about a half hour to rip Adam Gase. Until then, smash that like button, guys. There's 110 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. If you'd like to donate to the channel, you can do it through the super chat. You can also go to paypal.me/Phinside. And if you'd like to become a Patreon, there are multiple levels. There are 4 different levels. There's a $5 level. There's a $10 level. There's a $15 level. And there's a $20 level. Guys, take advantage of all the levels if you sign up for one. We got 13 Patreons. Shout out to Dan Marino. And as usual, every episode, I shout out the Patrons. So this is that part. Red Dino, shout out to you. Big Time, shout out to you. Slim Pickens, Miguel Angel Hernandez, shout out to you. Seth, Mr. Two Bits, Ramon Casillas, KL Day, Shake Money, Joe B, Fake Spike 94, and of course the OGs, the God of the Mod Squad, Rhino Sith, and Infinite Trauma. Shout out to y'all for supporting the channel continuously, and the backstage is starting to fill up. So guys, I'm gonna keep dropping that link. What's good, Sean Tunsil? Why don't you come on backstage, homie?
Yeah, man.
Tell Laramie tell Laramie we still love him for getting all that money. That guy's the man.
Let's see,
and for giving us those draft picks.
He said, "You see what checking out said?
What?
He said I should change my name to Triple OG." He been
listening
to the.
Who said that?
He is checking out.
Who said that?
In the chat, he said, "Hey, should we have BallGame change his name to Triple OG?"
Oh yeah.
He's obviously heard the podcast and heard Richmond calling me that.
Yeah, because it's funny because I think the first episode I introduced you as a Triple OG, and Richmond just has loved it ever since.
Yeah.
We got room 112 where the players dwell in the room right now. Shout out to all of y'all. And that's shout out to all my old hip hop heads who get that one. Havoc, Tariq, what's good, homie?
112.
What's good, fellas? Peaches and cream.
Yes, sir.
Man, they had all the jams back in the day, man. They had the jams with Biggie. They had jams on their own. They ran like the late 90s, the early 2000s. They ran that era.
Bro, when that boy Slim used to hit those high notes, man. Women just melted in their seats wherever they were, bro.
Had the whole high school turning up.
Buddy, that track anywhere.
Oh, well, come on.
I guarantee all of us on this panel have, you know what, to that song at one point in our life or another.
I remember, the back in the day, for anyone, 35 and up, y'all remember maybe MTV or BET, they had like that late night video shows going on where you can see like the videos you really wanted to see. Man, they had the 112 was on there consistently and Genuine too,
bro. And that y'all remember Sunshine?
BET Uncut. Yep, that's what it was
there
called.
You go. Y'all remember Sunshine with Jay-Z, Babyface, and Foxy?
Oh yeah, of course, bro.
Do y'all ever seen the video?
It's horrible.
No.
The fisheye lens.
Yeah, but do you remember the uncensored where you saw through her fishnet dress? Remember she had the red Like it was a pure fishnet cutout. Like you saw everything, bro. Like in the day they blurred it out. On BET Uncut, you saw full blown Foxy. Like
damn. I mean, it's in my memory banks. I don't remember it right now. I've definitely seen it more than too many times. So at least.
Yeah, good time. But let's get your thoughts on. Let me ask you guys. If Adam Gase loses, is he fired?
Shout out to you right now.
Go ahead, Derek.
He should be. I was telling the Jets they shouldn't have hired him from the jump, but they didn't want to listen.
I mean, it's look, man.
I mean, it worked in our favor though. I mean,
this guy
wasn't all bad.
And that's true. I mean, to a certain extent, with Gase, you know, he got a lot of notoriety with Peyton Manning, but who's to say Peyton Manning wasn't doing more teaching than Gase was teaching him, actually. So,
or what came to my mind? Sorry.
I think you're muted, BallGame.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think what made me laugh about the whole thing is it shows how poor the Jets ownership is. How do you not see what he did in Miami and still want to hire him?
And then you give him full reigns over the roster.
Yeah. The lady
hired him quickly
was
too.
doing from the jump.
Oh, man.
He
didn't want him. Remember, he didn't want him.
And he said he didn't want him. I'm like, wow, okay, I see where this is going.
And who says that? That should like a red flag should go off. Hold on a sec. We're giving you this guy just had a year off to get his body more fresh and heal a little bit. And before that year off, he was arguably the best running back in football, the best weapon, and he was Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey was Christian McCaffrey.
Why didn't you do your offense through him? That's what I would have did.
Like, bro, when a head coach, a guy who's an offensive guru, says, I don't want one of the most versatile weapons to come out of the backfield, if sirens aren't going off, I don't know. I would have fired him the next day. I would have fired him the next day for being a liar, bro.
Or one of the most versatile defenders in the game too.
Yeah, Jamal Adams.
I mean, coaches like Adam Gase is the reason why the Rooney Rule exists.
Yeah.
You know, he really is. He's the walking embodiment of why the Rooney Rule exists. When guys like this can just keep skipping from opportunity to opportunity to opportunity, regardless of the success, he just keeps moving up. He keeps failing up the ladder. This is a situation that we have right now. So
I have a feeling he's gonna get another head coaching job one day.
I can't disagree with you. Based on history, I can't disagree with you.
In a Pee
I
Wee
don't
league,
even want to see him as an offensive coordinator. I don't even know how he got through the door. Like who brought this guy in?
bro, I wouldn't even let him fill the Gatorade bottles.
Shout out
to Jazza.
He'd be done for me. And
shout out to Jazza for the $2 donation. It says shout out to Canada. And shout out to Rhino Sith for the $2 donation. It says shout out to New York City, Havoc in the house, go Fins.
That just really tells me
they were going to at least give him 2 years until they figured it out.
They just tell me how narrow-minded the NFL is in terms of it branching out and actually getting and bringing in truly qualified coaches. You know what I'm saying? They're sticking with the status quo. This guy, with anybody with any common sense, know Adam Gase is no NFL head coach, man. Come on.
I don't even know if he's a coordinator.
How he did not.
That's a question too.
I don't even know if he's a coordinator.
How they did not immediately demand a drug test when he decided he wanted Kalen Ballage over Le'Veon Bell is absolutely
beyond me. They
drug
tested him after that press conference. He probably was supplied. He supplied that old line coach with the cocaine.
I mean,
he was the plug.
You might be right.
He might be. He might have a guy named just Pablo in his phone. No last name, only Pablo.
Let me hit you with it. What if when Gase what if when Gase calls these boys, Pablo pops up? What if Gase is the plug?
That's what I said. That brother's the plug. He's the one that supplies it. He's the reason why he stayed in Miami
I believe that.
so long.
Hey, listen. Adam Gase is about a week away from sniffing the chalk on the field. Let's keep it real, man. He's out here. He's out here wide-eyed at the press conference. He's wide-eyed at the press conference. He's smelling salts. The chalk on the field is next, man. You got to get this guy to a 12-step program and out the NFL.
Did you guys?
And you need to give Eric Bieniemy his job.
I'm not going to disagree. Don't bring him over here.
Nah.
No, if
Don't bring Eric Bieniemy, bro.
You know about him.
If Eric Bieniemy is smart, he just waits out Andy Reid to retire like McDaniels is doing Belichick because he has such a good relationship with Mahomes. And Bieniemy can stick around for Mahomes' 10 years. Andy Reid will not.
Right.
I can see him going to Houston. I think that's a better position than the Jets, even though the Houston doesn't even have the first 2 picks.
Why? Why, man?
He's playing with house money. He's playing with house money right now.
Man. Stay in Kansas City.
Yeah, he has everything in the game staying where he at right now.
Because McDaniels, they gave him
what he's gonna do.
McDaniels, they gave him a pay raise and they gave him like the title. Like you saw, if you guys watched Last Chance U, that guy at the place where they did the first 2 seasons at, that offensive coordinator, I'm pretty sure. Were there at the guys who came off the back-to-back national championships, the ones who were like knocked out because they got into fights one year.
You talking about Jason Brown, the head coach?
No. That was the last 2 seasons of Last Chance U. The first 2 seasons followed a different team.
Oh, what's his name? Buddy? Something like that?
Yeah. Okay, so what he did was in the second year of Last Chance U with that Buddy guy, his number is like his top assistant. He had a new title. Like he was still the I think he was the offensive coordinator, but now he also exactly. They gave him that and they gave him a pay raise. That's what you do. That's what they did with McDaniels and Belichick. So just do that with Bieniemy. If they're smart, keep that in house. Don't let them get away. Just give him a pay raise.
Head coach in waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a possibility too.
Because Andrew Reid's almost 70. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that would be a seamless transition.
Bill Belichick was as old as he is.
Yeah, I know he's up there, but it just goes to show.
My dad's age.
It just goes to show that the cycle of retread coaches still exists in the NFL. So,
you guys expecting a win or what? You guys expecting a win,
bro? Of course.
How big? Give me predictions.
I mean, at a certain point,
go ahead,
we know what the Jets are this year. We know what their coaching is. We know that they just released their best offensive player. And their other significant offensive player is not playing this week. So you got old Joe Flacco out there, who I have not seen play a good game in I don't know how long. So, I mean, for me, I'd say Dolphins. I'd have to say 34-17.
I'm about the same.
We're staying in that 30-something point range.
Yeah,
see?
I'm about. Yeah. I think we'll put up 30+ points.
I think we can easily put up 30-something points.
They'll probably score a touchdown and a couple field goals and be done.
You might get some garbage time. You know what I mean? They might get like a little bit of garbage time traction going, but I look just similar to the San Francisco game. I look for them to control all 4 quarters, like they did last week.
Than that. I feel like.
Hey, we can all hope.
So Rob D swinging crypto says Miami 31, Jets 23. Need to hook him up with Sharif.
Fitzpatrick makes some mistakes and they just capitalize off turnovers. That's the only reason I could see them getting that.
And it could be low scoring because of the rain too, and there could be turnovers because of the rain, right? Jazz says
feel like they just did a running.
Yeah, Jazz says Fins 35, Jets 10. Checking out says 30-17, Fins win.
Yeah,
I like that one too.
Oh, Paul says 41-9, Miami.
And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I just can't predict it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
Lakeisha says 35-7, Fins.
I mean, and to be honest with you, the word up here, I live in Queens, the word up here doesn't look too much different than what we're talking about right now. So, it appears they have prepped themselves properly for this Sunday.
They got their brown paper bags ready?
Yeah, no, I hear them chanting on Sundays in my building, so.
What, Jets fans?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that's when Havoc killed the whole floor people.
That's it, right? That's when I started wearing my hat everywhere I go.
Damien D says 38-10 Dolphins.
We've been there before.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how these guys are still chanting at 0-5. Figure that one out for me,
bro. They're Jets fans, bros. They don't stop no matter what, bro.
They built
Jets. Jets suck.
Yeah, they built different.
I'll give them that. They stick with their team. I'll give them that.
They do, and
So
they
do
know
Giants fans. Giants fans.
That's what I was about to say. They got another team they could flip to right across the way, and they don't.
It hit different. It hit different up there, man. When you know.
Well, the Giants are more of like the team of Manhattan, and the Jets are more like the borough team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which ain't that good. and they perform like they living in some boroughs too, bro.
Yeah, no, they perform in like the Jackson Heights Jets right now. They are Rizash.
Any said the Jackson Heights Jets. Wow.
Yeah, man, the area Queens when Eddie Murphy came off that plane and Coming to America, where they said take me. He said take me to Queens. He said where in Queens the most common part, and he dropped him off in Jackson Heights.
Yo, Coming to America 2 is coming out. I can't wait.
Yeah, man.
Boy, I got my popcorn popped already.
How long it took, man?
Man, I'm glad.
No, but at least it's like the whole cast. It's the whole cast. It's no Fugazi.
Didn't they sell it to Amazon or something like that?
Did y'all?
Yeah.
Did y'all?
125 million.
Did y'all see Black Dynamite?
Yes, I did.
That was amazing.
That was
amazing.
That movie's a 10 out of 10, man.
Yes, it is.
Eddie Murphy, phenomenal job. Like that's one of my favorite movies in the last couple of years, man. Like it's so amazing, that movie.
I haven't seen it.
It's amazing.
You gotta watch. You gotta watch it. BallGame.
It's based on based on the life of a Dolomite. Eddie Murphy plays Dolomite.
Funny as fuck.
Yeah, bro, and the acting is so good in it too. Like, phenomenal.
You said Black Dynamite. I was like, no, I haven't seen Black Dynamite, but I saw Dolomite.
Yeah, it's Dolomite. My name is Dolomite.
That was funny.
My name is Dolomite.
Rudy Ray Moore.
That's right.
Yeah.
Down in the jungle deep.
Oh man!
I remember sitting in my granddaddy's, sitting in the back room of my grandparents' house, and my granddad had this little radio. And he had the 8-track tape, so you could slide it into the side of the radio.
Yeah.
And it used to have the Dolomite. I used to sit back there and listen to Rudy May. Yeah, it was bad, man.
Have you seen the movie then?
My grandma used to beat the brakes off me, man, because I used to be walking around saying all that stuff, man.
Yeah, no, you can't walk around talking that Dolomite as a kid, man.
Yeah.
So have you haven't seen the movie yet?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's on Netflix.
I'm going to Netflix right now.
It's a Netflix. Netflix produced it.
Okay.
I've seen it more than once, man. It's that funny. It's that funny.
I'm pretty sure Black Dynamite is a black exploitation movie
Yeah, hey, you don't remember on Adult Swim they had the cartoon series Black Dynamite, and then they had the movie. It is funny as fuck. I recommend anybody to watch it. Adult Swim, it was on for like 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's from 200009, right?
With
Michael Jai Parker.
Oh wait, no.
Michael Jai White. Michael Jai
White. Yeah, funny as fuck.
Tommy Davidson from In Living Color.
Yeah.
Same
voices that was on the cartoon was on the movie.
Yeah.
It's funny as fuck. Reasons right. It's funny as fuck.
Y'all ever seen? Sorry, we gotta be on topic of this. Y'all ever seen Black? Y'all want to watch a good one? Y'all ever seen Black Shampoo? Have you seen Black Shampoo?
Black Shampoo?
Yeah, go watch Black Shampoo.
I think so.
All right, I'm watching.
All right, you need to watch Black Shampoo. It's about a guy who's like a hairdresser by day, and he like just does nothing but like smash women and just like beat up dudes and stuff. It's amazing. Go watch it.
Yo, I just wanted to say, like, I think we could put up a 40 on him because as long as it isn't bad, rain really doesn't stop nothing. And actually, with our receivers and their poor secondary, it's gonna make it even worse on them. So I think we can put up numbers as long as it's windy.
My problem is we don't have Brian Hill gifting us like 28 points off of flags and bad coverage, bro. That's the only thing we don't have though. So that's why
he was struggling all day long.
3-3 going into the bye.
I have another engagement I need to do. So it's been a pleasure. Reason as always, man. Hey, love you guys, man. Reason.
Take care, BallGame.
All good, BallGame.
It's out, bro. We'll talk.
All right, yes, sir, for sure. Y'all be good.
All good.
Yeah, that's my only issue. Is like Brian Poole is good, but what BallGame brought up was right. Like, who's gonna cover Gesicki?
No, that's gonna be a problem for them.
Yeah, I mean this should really be a situation where Chan Gailey should be, licking his chops right now. there is, I mean, aside from the just generally speaking, their talent level is not high. They have a litany of injuries. So, I mean, they're starting Joe Flacco, for goodness sake. I mean, you know
why we might get turnovers and have good field position and get points off them too.
But you know what, guys? If this is a different Dolphins regime, if this is a different Miami Dolphins, we need to blow them out, because this was typical Dolphins, us coming off a big win one week and then losing to a team we're supposed to beat the next week. So we need to blow them out the water, especially them being one of our arch rivals, to show that we are a new Dolphins regime.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the time if you're looking to make a statement, if you're looking to do something that we haven't seen in quite a while, which is piece together 2 quality wins in a row.
Yep.
I mean, it's, you know, when you're talking about a rebuild, you know, there's a number of boxes that need to get checked, and one of those boxes that needs to get checked is handling your business. So when you see the Jets on your schedule, you know, the first thing that should come to your mind is we need to come out here and take care of our business, because they should not pose a realistic threat to us. So it's really a matter of what's the game plan going into the game. We've talked a lot about running the ball just to run the ball to pass, try and keep Fitzpatrick at a good level, you know, 25 to 30 pass attempts. You keep him real efficient. You know, you get Breda his runs, you get Gaskins his looks. You know, is this a time where you throw in some Bowden, some Perry, you know, some wrinkles? The Gesicki is going to be a matchup nightmare for them. They literally have no one on their defense that can cover him. So, I mean, there's a lot going in their favor, but they need to keep that mindset that we are still a rebuilding team, and we just need to approach this team as if we were approaching the New England Patriots without the New England Patriot game results.
Reason, you made a good topic on Twitter, man. I don't know if you realize, when we were willing to throw money at Le'Veon, that kind of let the cat out the bag. The coaching staff and the organization kind of think, you know what, we might can make a run this year at a playoff run.
Yeah,
not saying win the division or nothing, but like a playoff run.
Yeah, people came into the comments were like, oh, you know, he just wants to get paid. He wants to get, and I said, it's not about the individual player. I said, look at this from an organizational standpoint. What does this tell you? This tells you that they're willing to accelerate certain aspects of the rebuild, i.e., in this case, the running back position, because Breda's contract is up at the end of this year. It's pretty much been a hot topic that we're probably going to take a running back in the first 2 rounds, because we were really high on JK this year and we were looking to take him at 56. Next year we might be in a position where we can take someone higher, right? So, you know, like this just kind of makes it, you know, people got to look at this as, this shows you they're willing to put their chips all in and say, hey, we think we got a playoff team here. We're just a couple pieces here and there away from becoming a legitimate contender, man.
True. The way the schedule fell for us with this new schedule.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, like, you're about to go in against the Jets. You can beat them. You got a 2-game winning streak. Me and BallGame talked earlier about building momentum. Now you started to build momentum, and you got 2 weeks to prepare for your next game.
And we can beat the Rams.
Yeah, and you're in the Rams have been very inconsistent.
Yeah.
So, like, we're in a position where we can basically right now, we control our own destiny right now.
Bills got KC. They can lose to them. That's 2 losses for the Bills. Then they have a tough schedule. I think they have the Raiders after that or something like that.
And our tough schedule is like the last, you know, we got the KC, and then right there, like just after the halfway point of the season. But then the last 4 games are the tough ones for me. Yeah. Besides the KC game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, you know, at a certain point, you know, we know.
Told y'all, Damien.
I was with you on that. I didn't ever check the tape. I never went against you on that.
We know Tua is the future, and going into 2020, you know, you're gonna have to get the boys some toys. And what better way to start off 2021 or the second half of 2020 with a guy like Le'Veon Bell in your backfield? Yeah. So I like the intention behind it, which is, how often does a guy that I still feel from a physical standpoint is still that Pro Bowl caliber running back? How often do guys like that hit the open market without injury concerns? I mean, not very often. So the fact that they
And that was the concern, Havoc. That's why, all the tread he had off of his tires, and then he ended up taking a year off.
In the middle of his career.
And then he ended up taking 2 years off because they didn't know how to use them, bro.
Basically. And I think particularly, he's coming here. He's already getting that Jets money. So he's already coming in on a sweetheart deal.
And let me say this to you, Havoc. And they were only going to go 2 years. So that shows you that, A, they were smart enough. Once he's 30, we have out to cut bait.
Yep.
And number 2, hey, we can be competitive next year when Tua takes over.
That's it. And just like I said, give that boy some toys. You got Le'Veon Bell. That's a pretty good safety blanket out there, because he is well known as one of the best, if not the best, pass blocking running back in the league. Yeah. What better guy to have that can run the ball, catch it, and be pass blocking the backfield? I like the intention behind the organization. Yeah. But they
got a complete back. They got a versatile back. They got versatility from the backfield. And shout out to Jazz, a $5 Australian donation, says, couple of pieces away with a ton of draft picks. Future is bright. Damien, I got to ask you, who was the running back you were alluding to? Are you going to say Travis Etienne?
I love him. But the kid from Memphis also. But the only thing about Etienne is where we would have
how high?
Yeah, where we would have to use that Houston pick on him. I think he's going top 10.
He's going top 10?
I think he's going top 10.
Yeah, I'd say that he's going top 10, in and around top 10 for sure.
He's going top 10. We're going to have to use that Houston pick on him. And like I put it like this. The perfect storm would be us making that 7th spot in the playoffs.
Honestly, guys,
that would look better us drafting him.
Honestly, I want, if I can get Najee Harris or Kenneth Gainwell in the second, I want a receiver as my weapon in the first. Like I've said, I'll say it. If you're moving off DVP, my wide receiver one's Rashad Bateman. If you're keeping DVP, I want Jalen Waddle. I want Devontae Smith or Rondell Moore.
Do we take a flyer at AB at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
They were joking around. They were joking around if Le'Veon came here that he was going to call up.
Yeah.
That he's going to call up AB. But yeah, I just to me, there's a lot of good value for the position of running back in the second. Like Travis Etienne, to me, he's a more athletic Alvin Kamara. That's what I see when I see him. That's what, because I had player comp. If you guys remember, I was dropping player comps last year when I was on the other platform. Damien was around. I think Shake was. I don't know if you were, Havoc, but this is when I didn't have my channel yet. I told everyone Etienne is basically a more athletic version of Alvin Kamara. I said Jonathan Taylor is Todd Gurley. I said minus the knee problems. I said DeAndre Swift is Melvin Gordon. And who was the other person? Who was the other run back? I think
wasn't Dobbins, was it?
Yeah, and I said Dobbins was who the hell did I say Dobbins was? I forget who I said Dobbins was. I have to go back in my notes, but that's basically how I laid it out. And I think Etienne is showing week in week that he is just basically, he's a great route runner, he's a good pass catcher, and he's but I don't think he's got the body to be a 3-down back.
Who, ATM?
Yeah, size-wise.
Well, you can pair him with Gaskins, though. That's a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, like, the way he's used is he's kind of used how Pittsburgh used Le'Veon. Just minus, he doesn't get 300 carries. But, like, this is a guy who's going to probably get, he probably wants 225 to 250 carries, and then he's probably going to want 60 targets. Because that's his game. That's his game. But I don't know if he can take that kind of workload at the next level. Now, I don't think last year he had 200 carries, if I remember correctly.
No.
Well,
last year he didn't even have 200 carries.
Well, Gaskin has shown, and the Dolphins continuously they use him to run in between the tackles. So he's shown the ability to offer a little bit of a push up front where maybe Etienne can't, though.
Okay. So Dwayne asked, how about an edge rusher with the highest first-round pick? This is my issue. My issue is there's no, like, Gregory Rousseau isn't in my top 2. Like, you'll see, guys, the video I drop next week. my top 2 rushers are on the list in terms of edge. But here, I'll go back to Micah Parsons. I would rather take Micah Parsons with that highest first-round pick, a linebacker, because he's best suited right now. His weakness is coverage. He's best suited as an off-ball blitzing linebacker coming into the NFL right now. Using him off the edge, using him off the line of scrimmage, up the middle between the tackles, rushing. That's how his coverage is his weakness. So you can't have Micah Parsons as a Mike off the bat. That's just not, you guys hear EM talks about Kyle Van Noy. We were using him wrong because we were using him outside in, whereas before last week when the injury to Shaq Lawson happened and he had to go onto the edge more, we started using him inside out. Well, outside in is how you're going to have to use Micah Parsons. He's not a prototypical Mike. Dylan Moses and Nick Bolton from Missouri are more of your prototypical Mikes if you're going linebacker either in the first round or high second. Is it Canu or Canoe?
I'm going to say Canoe.
Okay, Canoe says, shout out NYC Havoc, always great content. Reason, hope they get Najee Harris or Devontae Smith. Here's my thing with Najee Harris and why I'm down with that pick if he's there in the second round. Najee Harris is the idea they were trying to get from Jordan Howard. That power back that can give you 15, 20 carries if you got to lean on him, and he's going to get in the end zone. You can use him in the red zone. But Najee Harris is a better pass catcher. I think he's faster than Jordan Howard. He's more explosive. Again, I would love the Najee Harris pick if it's in the second. I got no problem. Hey, if we become Alabama NFL, I got no problem with that. If you give me Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle as our weapon in the first to complement either a Penei Sewell or a Micah Parsons, and then you turn around and give me Najee Harris at the top of the second, let's go.
I'm wondering about those 2 second-round picks, though, especially with our performance this year. Especially if we're teetering around that 7th spot or we make that 7th spot, because those 2 second-round picks can easily maybe turn into a first-round pick, a mid to late first-round pick, because Tua's coming next year. We pretty much know Tua's playing next year. We have weapons with Parker and Wilson and Gesicki.
Wilson's gonna be gone, brother.
Preston Williams. That's what I mean, Preston.
Yeah.
And the young offensive line is building. Would I like another piece on that line? Yeah. But if you have a back, let's say for instance, say for instance Travis ATM drops. Let's say for instance he drops to that 20th pick. You see the Dolphins maybe making a move?
Oh yeah, but I don't think you'll get here. And here's my problem. This is, first of all, I'm an advocate of taking running backs in the top 10, but that's if they're an every down 3 down back. Ezekiel Elliott made sense to go high because you could run him 250 times a year. Etienne, I can't run you 250 times a year, I don't think. That's why I can't. It's going to be hard for me, to swallow drafting Etienne top 10. I get he's special as a pass catcher, as a route runner. But I don't see him as a 3 down back, man.
Well, do you see a utilization for him where he could stay on the field, but as a pass catching option, not just pass catching out of the backfield, but lining up as a wide receiver, and then bring in the Gaskin off the bench.
Yeah, but now I'm in empty. You don't really do that where you bring in a running back and then line up another running, but usually you go empty sets, right? I'm not a fan of that either. Because bro, you need to listen to this guy over here. Whoa, bro, this guy's that's twice you've just come out of nowhere and said that, bro.
Yeah, man, because I watched this dude. I'm heavy on college football, man.
Yeah.
And dude is special, man.
Joe B, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Yeah. Joe B, Alvin Kamara is not a top 5 running back, a top 5 pick. If you were redrafting the NFL right now, no one's taking Kamara in the top 5, my friend. So I wouldn't draft Kamara top 5 today. If he was in this draft right now, you're getting closer to 8, 9, 10. Okay, I can swallow it. No pause, no homo, right? But like, I can't go like top 5 for Alvin Kamara. Like top 5, running backs. I would go Christian McCaffrey. I would Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, I think, is the most underrated running back, and I think he's up there in the conversation as best running back in the NFL. Saquon, I would. Yep. Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
Knowing what I know right now, or not knowing what I know right now in terms of injuries.
Yeah. And
because if it's a clean minus injury, yes, Dalvin Cook, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would take Elliott too.
Zeke Elliott, yeah, I would. I would. Derrick Henry, I would.
Yeah.
He's a 3-down back. My only issue with Derrick Henry is the one time Phinsanity's ever been right in her life in terms of football was when she said that Derrick Henry's a back half of the season running back. And I agree with that assessment. He is that. That's my only. But this year, he showed up.
He showed up early.
Now
he can't catch a lick out the back.
So surprise, she might be wrong in the end, but but there you go. But
when you're that big, I mean, you think about like the mid '90s. Were they really asking Natron Means to catch the ball out the backfield?
Natron Means,
Joe B.
You know what I mean?
Joe B. I could make the argument with you right now that Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is the best player in football. The guy does everything except snap the ball.
Yeah. I mean, when you're basically a Pro Bowl receiver and running back in the same season, what can you say about that?
He plays just like, for me, like, you know, at Gaskins, he plays bigger than his size.
You know what he is, guys? He's a better Le'Veon Bell. That's it. He's a guy you could give the ball to him 250, 300 times if you want to, and you could. I think he was targeted over like 90 times last year. Something like that.
Might have been more.
Yeah, like
it's funny they're 3-0 without him.
Christian McCaffrey is so dynamic, man.
He's a stud.
Like, dude, everyone talks about 2018 being Cam Newton's best year, right? Since his MVP. I literally came up here, proved analytically that the whole reason he had that year was Christian McCaffrey. So like,
and it was a comment about the 2-0 without him. People, number one, Joe Brady can call a hell of a game.
Oh yeah.
Two, people need to give Teddy Bridgewater respect. He gets the ball out quickly.
And let me say this. DJ Moore, right?
Yeah.
DJ Moore, he had a good year last year, but we can all say, for the most part, he hasn't flashed like what we thought. Like last year he started to. But look at how he looks better than what he looked last year because of Joe Brady's ability to manufacture space for his receivers.
And what's the other receiver they got that came from the Jets, who the Jets were just
Robbie Anderson.
They're actually using him as a receiver. He's running routes. He's not just running fly go routes and all that. How Gase is ruining the guy. He's actually creating. They're creating space for him. They're letting his speed be a
notice he's playing in the slot more.
Yup, most definitely.
They only had him in the
boundary. And look how successful Mike Davis is without, like, in replace of Christian McCaffrey. Mike Davis is killing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Damn,
it just goes to show. I mean, I think particularly we talk about the Carolina Panthers. It just goes to show that when you have a guy, and I know McCaffrey's not been playing, but when you have a guy with that level of versatility, it's like you just take the playbook and you just multiply it. Like, there is so much more that the opposing defense has to account for. I think that's where Alvin Kamara's real impact on the game is there is so much you have to account for due to his catching ability as well. Yeah. That you have to be more mindful of certain offensive sets and the trickery going along with it.
Yep. All right, guys, we're getting to 10 minutes to 2 hours here. I'm going to wrap it at 2 hours. Is there anything else you guys wanted to cover before we go over final thoughts?
Actually, I had something.
Go ahead.
Now that we got the bye week before the deadline, do you think that Flores could actually focus on the trade deadline and make some good moves before the trade deadline this year? being that they have a bye week before the trade deadline?
I don't know how active they're going to be at the trade deadline. Like, I don't think they're going to go hunting for a big name. I think Le'Veon was more of a situation where he might have fallen into the lap. Snacks Harrison makes sense. If you call up Benito Jones and you don't like what you're seeing at nose.
I know Snacks is on the practice squad right now for Seattle.
Yeah, so you can snipe him, right?
Yeah.
But apparently he made
He's
that
out of shape.
choice.
He's out of shape, though.
Apparently he made that choice. Apparently he had other offers and he said, no, I want to go there. So I don't know if you can pull him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see them because I think they want to. I don't know if they want to draft with I don't know if they want to part with a lot of their draft picks, man.
Mm-hmm. I would just say, it's not quite like the MLB trade deadline where everyone's making moves. It's a little bit different, but I mean, I feel like the Dolphins are very well positioned to, if there's a deal that happens, that's great, but they don't have to overextend to make something happen. So I wouldn't see them, making any huge splashes at the trade deadline.
I think Slim, you could get like
a ham sandwich.
A sixth or a seventh probably. Maybe even a fifth if you sell someone on his athletic ability.
Yeah. Well,
Aquavision, I think Bruce Irvin's hurt.
He is.
So yeah, I don't.
I got a little.
And you know what? And it's not necessarily to acquire talent, but also to offload some of our talent to get assets in the future.
Well, Godchild would have been a great. Yeah. Godchild would have been a prime candidate for that type of move, but
I agree.
Obviously that's not happening. So,
what were you gonna ask, Pyro?
So I remember you guys was talking about is the Jets finna tank, and so I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm hearing they trying to shop Quinn Williams.
Oh man, they sell.
Yeah, I saw that actually too.
Woo. Oh yeah, they are trying to tank.
But they're not going to trade us.
But we need interior. We don't need Quinnen Williams. We need interior. Like we need a zero tech. I'm not interested in trading for that, man. CO Supreme says, "What about AJ Green?" You know what? Here's my problem with AJ Green. The guy had a year off. Okay, basically that guy was ready to come back like week 9, week 10 last year, and they're just like no. And AJ Green is not only 31, he's dropping a lot of footballs this year. Like AJ Green, like Joe Burrow, God love the kid. God bless the kid, because for all of us who were saying, you know what, he still does have weapons, even if his offensive line is crap. His weapons have been letting him down at times. Like they've been dropping footballs, like they're not getting open. So he's got to dip his head, tuck the ball, and run. Like AJ Green, I thought he was going to have rapport with the young boy, and AJ Green has been such a disappointment.
He's not a good 31 either. He's a beat-up 31 too.
I agree. I say AJ Green is heading into his paper mache part of his career, where the injuries caught up with him, and it looks like injuries over time have caught up to him, and he's heading into the paper mache section of his career where you blow on him and he's got a twisted ankle. So.
Dude,
man,
I mean, you don't even have to bat the ball out of his hand. He's just dropping it.
It's almost like what we're looking at with Jordan Howard, where just sometimes the season's over, you come back the next season, dudes just dropped off the cliff.
Yeah,
it happens. Sometimes dudes just drop off the cliff.
Yep.
Hey, we talked about this. DeMarco Murray was 1,000-yard back till Derrick Henry started taking reps away, and then all of a sudden DeMarco Murray, became Mr. Irrelevant. All of a sudden wasn't even a viable option as a running back, overnight, basically. All right, so let's go through some final thoughts. We'll start with you, Havoc.
I mean, as always, it's Fins up all day, every day. Shout out to Australia, Western Australia, Perth gang. You know the deal. Heading into this Jets game, let's just make sure to not overlook them. They are still cashing paychecks every week. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the game plan we went into for the San Francisco 49ers game, run that back. You're talking about a game where Fitzpatrick had a lot of success, but we actually ran the ball more than we threw the ball that game. So I
just want to hold on a sec. Yeah. Rhino, Rob D. Swinging Crypto just said, "What's everyone's take on Baker?" Could you share the film analysis link with him that I did on Jerome Baker a couple weeks ago in the chat? Appreciate you, homie. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. If we could just run back that same game plan we had with the San Francisco with the Jets, because the Jets just literally don't have the talent to stop us doing that to them. Then
on either side of the ball.
I look for similar results. So, fins up all day, every day.
All right, and then Damian, what's on your mind, brother?
I just want us to go out there and handle business. Do the opposite of what the Dolphins are known to do, and that's lose the teams we're supposed to beat. They're one of our arch rivals. Let's beat the brakes off them, get them out the way, go into the bye week at 500, and beat a team who I know we're capable of beating with this, which is the Rams, and we got Denver, and we got LA Chargers. We should be looking pretty in the next couple of weeks. Let's build on this momentum. Fins up.
Pyro.
Same. I think we should beat them easily. You can't take them for granted. Don't do the that's so Dolphins thing. What people always say about us. You have to take this team just like how you take every team seriously. We got to go in the same mentality we went in with 49ers. Go in there, play them like a real team. Be efficient. Don't make any mistakes. No turnovers, no nothing. And run the ball effectively. You know I am with running the ball. I always get blamed for that, but you have to be honest with me, man. We gotta get this running game going sooner or later because we can't rely on the pass on all the time. So and like always, you already know, always root against the Texans.
That's right.
Shake, what's good, homie?
Not much, man. I agree with everybody they have to say, but on an off topic, I finally watched the Tua biography. And, man, after that biography, I wanted to call Flores personally and say, hey, start him right away. But I'll be patient. Man.
Hey, man, I agree, man. That's inspirational, bro.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second before I get out of here. Finish your thought, Pyro. Actually, you're talking about inspirational. Finish your thought, bro.
No, I was saying that documentary, man. I feel like running through a brick wall, man. After watching that documentary, I mean, you can tell how passionate he takes that job, man. And like him being challenged, he just say, "Hey, I'm going to improve." When I forgot who challenged. I forgot. I can't. His name's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, the guy Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, Trent Dilfer, man. When he challenged him,
when he was at the camp.
He said, hey, you got to work on this. You got to work on this. You're a good player, but you still need to work on your fundamentals.
And then what happened? And then he came back. The best thing, that's what I said to EM privately. I said, the best part of that documentary was when Tua's parents called Trent Dilfer.
Yep.
And said, what can we do for him to be better? And then Trent said, all of a sudden, overnight, this guy went from, because he was in the regionals, right? The All-22 regionals. And then when it came down to the All-22, the actual competition, he said he went overnight from a guy who really needed improvement in a lot of the areas they gave him to work on to one of the best I've seen in those areas. And that's why I keep telling people, this guy's a student of the game. And I was telling people that before Trent Dilfer told everyone that he's that type of student of the game. And then when the smile on my face, because that's why I'm not anxious. That's why I'm more excited to see Tua, because I know he's just getting more and more refined every week. And think about it this way. And let's touch on this for a sec before I get out of here. This whole Herbert nonsense. First thing I'm going to say, if any of y'all have access to the All-22, go back and watch the second half of the New Orleans Saints game. I'll say it till I'm red in the face. They started taking stuff away from him, and they started forcing Herbert to make throws outside the numbers towards the sidelines with anticipation, and Herbert went from a guy who was like 11-14 to, before that, blown coverage, some of the worst I've ever seen against Mike Williams with a couple minutes left in the fourth. He was 14 of 25. So he went 3 of 11 up until that point because they started trying to force him to make big boy throws. He couldn't make them. A big boy throw is not a bomb 40 yards down the field on a go route. That's not a big boy throw. A big boy throw is a corner route, an out route towards the sideline in tight coverage where you got to place it between the sideline and the corner to where only the receiver can make a play on it. That's a big boy throw, guys. And guess what? Multiple times in the second half, Herbert couldn't make them. Exactly what I told y'all I saw on film. They made the adjustments on halftime and they started taking things away. This is why I said all these people who are losing about a Herbert or Burrow, whatever your case, I said hold Tua to this standard too, not just Burrow and Herbert. Hold every rookie to this standard. Yep. Don't start busting your nut and losing your mind till after game 8, game 9. When the film is really out there and they played over a half a season, that's when you can start declaring guys. And even then, you got to be careful because look what happened to Baker Mayfield, and all it took was Freddie Kitchen to trot in the room, and it was over for his sophomore year because Baker looks like he's starting to get back to what we thought he was, but it's a process. Yeah. Like, that stunted his development. So, Burrow, look at how he was against the Ravens. Can we sit here and say the Chiefs are good, but the Chiefs are not what they were last year? I'll tell y'all right now, privately, EM has told me that he thinks we have a chance to beat them because guess what? Their offensive line is not very good this year.
It's not. Patrick Mahomes.
So you look at you look at these guys. Has Herbert played a defense on the par of what Burrow just saw with the Ravens?
No.
And let me tell you all this. All y'all people that claim to be Dolphin fans and yet should be LA Charger fans on this Herbert bandwagon. And y'all can go over there. Anytime y'all can go over there. Watch our secondary. If that secondary is fully healthy, our secondary is going to shut Justin Herbert down like he's a mom and pop shop who just got hit by the economy during COVID. It's a wrap when Justin Herbert trots on the field against our secondary because they just went up against Jimmy G has seen more at this level than what Herbert has. And yeah, I agree. His ankle should have been out there. But like I said earlier, there were times where Jimmy G was sitting back there rolling through his progressions multiple times because he didn't know where to go with the ball because we had a bunch of Arnold Schwarzeneggers out there, nothing but erasers. That's it. It was over. And Herbert, a rookie, and here's another thing. Jimmy G, when the worst thing that happened for him was when we got down 14-0, not because of his injury, because not only were we taking everything away with that secondary, the looks we were throwing him were confusing him. What do you think? If we get up on the Chargers, it's a wrap for Herbert with that defense and that secondary. The exotics take away the press man he's going to be having to deal with. And that press man, guys, what were we doing to Jimmy G, guys? What were we doing to Jimmy G in the first half? We were dropping our linebackers back in the zone, and we had our corners and press man forcing everything to the outside. Everything to the outside if you were going to beat us. So what I just told y'all about Herbert, we did to Jimmy, and we did it successfully, and that's the guy who went to the Super Bowl. What do you think we're going to do to Herbert? I'm telling y'all right now, y'all saw the blueprint against Jimmy, and it's coming, because if we get down, if he gets down, and those exotics start coming out, it's a wrap for Justin Herbert.
And can I add real quick that 2 of those scores that Justin Herbert did was off of Saints turnovers too.
Yeah.
There
you go.
To a certain extent, there's a reason why I'm not particularly anxious about Tua. Is the same reason why Casino isn't anxious when it's full of people. It's called playing with house money. I'm not saying that I can see. I got the crystal ball of the future and I can see exactly what's going to happen, but I haven't seen anything outside of a freak injury that would lead me to believe he will not be a successful NFL quarterback. So to say that
Latrell, I was just teasing the people that were like coming at Tua. You can stay with us. I was just joking, bro. I'm not talking about you. You're not in that. You can be on the Herbert bandwagon because you're a good guy, but I'm talking about all the people that were attacking Dolphin fans over the Herbert-ish.
Yeah. I mean, I think Herbert will be okay. Like, if I were to say who has a higher ceiling, I would give it to Tua. Just overall, including tangibles, I give it to Tua. But at the end of the day, I don't understand what it is about him that makes a certain part of our fan base not want to see him succeed. I legitimately don't understand it. Outside of the fact that a less talented quarterback didn't take his job, but it is what it is at this point. If you want to support the team, this is the game plan. This is the vision. This is the future.
Havoc used the keyword there. Least talented. Because here's the difference, guys. No one's gonna argue that Tua's the better passer, the more talented passer, the more talented quarterback, as even Fitzpatrick said. Tua can make, and I quote, Tua can make a million throws, I can't. That's not the question. It's who's the better NFL player right now. That's a different thing than being the better quarterback. Well, for a rookie at least.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, that's a different thing. You know what I mean? So
because right now, Herbert's a thrower. He's not a quarterback. He's a thrower now.
Well, if you look at their offense, the reason why it stopped working, too, in the second half is it's very simplified. You can tell they're only using with probably a third the playbook. Like, and then you saw it on the 4th and 7 in overtime. You saw the play calling. It was already limited, and you saw the play calling was porous on 4th and 7 because they probably went with something they think he's most comfortable with, because that's your problem with having a more talented quarterback than Tyrod, but not a better NFL player than Tyrod. Is Tyrod's comfortable with anything you call on 4th and 7 in overtime, whereas Herbert, he's only got a selection of plays he's comfortable with, or you're comfortable with as a coaching staff calling on 4th and 7 in overtime. See, these are all the context things people seem to forget about when they talk about, just throw the kid in there. This is why, guys, listen to me. I will guide you into being a football mind, not just someone on the couch that watches football and gives a baseless opinion that's most of the time just subjective. And I'm talking to everyone right now, not anyone specific. So, or those people that need it,
So say we did throw in Tua, right? And then he struggles like, I will say
he's a bust. All of a sudden, everyone's going to call him a bust, bro.
He's a bust. And then you've seen it in the 4th quarter and even in overtime.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, bro? You know what's funny? I will say this. Because of how much pressure. There wasn't pressure from the Chargers fan base on Herbert like there is from Tua. Nope. I'll say this. Check this one out.
That fan base was saying, set him.
You want me to hit you with the real script right now? You want me to hit me with the real? Take Herbert's stats, okay, minus the fumbles, just the passing stats. Transfer them to Tua, but keep the same record. Have them go 0-4. We can't win. We can't win with this kid. We can't win with the kid. He's not good enough. Take the same thing where he's lost in overtime a couple. We just can't win with this kid. You'll have people out there that'll say that, bro.
Yep. And all I gotta say is, if you feel that if you come from the perspective that Herbert is lighting the world on fire, that he is blowing the doors off the barn, keep that same energy when Tua plays. Yeah, and when his statistical performance is ahead of Herbert's statistical performance, keep that same energy.
Yeah. And that's why, if y'all were around, what was I telling people before the draft and after the draft? I told everyone, all of y'all that don't want my boy Tua and are all out here hating, saying he's gonna break his hip when he walks up to the podium, because it was said. Keep that same energy when we draft him and he balls out and he makes you not just have eggs on your face, but the whole damn chicken too. So, that's all. Keep that same energy, man. That was literally that was my motto for the 2020 draft, was keep that same energy. So, guys, I gave you all opportunities to give your final thoughts. We're about to hit 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'm going to get out of here, guys, and I appreciate each and every one of you for spending your Friday night with us. I'll be back. I will be back probably around 3:30 on Sunday on the same Bat channel, and we'll be watching and live reacting to the Miami Dolphins and the Jets. And then halftime, I'll open it up to you guys, and then after the game, I'll open it up to you guys. Probably do another 5-6 hour marathon, let's be honest with ourselves. So I will see all of you guys back here on Sunday. Next week, Top 25 college prospects that are draft eligible Dolphin fans should be watching. And that includes, because I couldn't keep some of them out, I wanted to go strictly with guys that are playing this year, but I had to go with some names that are worth y'all digging up the tape on. So, and that includes more than just a couple of the big names we've talked about. So be out on the lookout for that, guys, next week, and then a couple weeks from now, Reason and Mr. BallGame film analysis for Eric Rowe. And I mean, that's going to be easy because he's been one of our best players this year. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Other than that, y'all already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. And I'll see all y'all on Sunday.